One. Hi, everyone. It's Jeff Cohen, and we are live with Todd Gurvis. It's Business Opportunity Live Fridays, Finance Fridays, and we're going to talk about your money, what to do, what not to do, where to go, how to get there. We're going to give you total roadmap today. We're also going to tell you to turn your speaker down, Todd, so that way.
I just did. It just double played on there.
It's all good. And so what we're doing today is we're going to talk about money as it relates to you, your business, your life, and what will affect you personally as well. And not just you, but your employees too. You know, we've seen a lot of stuff happen. The last few weeks, I've been kind of raging because I filled out all the applications. I did all my stuff. I followed all the guidelines. I did all the rules, right? I took step 1, step 2, step 3. Then I went back and had to do step 1, step 2, step 3. I did that 3 times. I was going nuts. And today, I got the infamous email from the SBA saying, we're ready to approve you for an EIDL loan. And then I noticed it's actually not approved. It's just processing my loan application. So they're basically saying, hey, I qualify for some money if I get approved. But what's great about that is I've had no communication since March 31st when I filled the form out for the 3rd time. So it's only been 6 weeks. I feel like I've been kind of, left out hanging. I also saw communications from unemployment because I know a lot of folks out there are filing unemployment. So I jumped in because, when you have a business that's impacted, this is what you do. I just want to let everybody know that seeing more and more people start getting contacted. Now, I did talk to Gene Cohen, who is my CPA and has been on the show with us several times. And just so you know, I said to Gene, hey, I just got contacted about the EIDL loan. He goes, wow, you're the first one that I've heard of. So I don't know. I guess I just got to the front of the line somehow. Feels good to be there. Not sure exactly how that occurred, but 6 weeks in, it doesn't exactly feel like the front of the line. So I just want to let you know that, while 6 weeks in is not the front of the line, I'm just going to say I'm in line and they do know about me. They did get my application. Like, I feel like a big woohoo is due on that one. And so here's the good news. So I'll just share with you guys, as a single employee corporation, my corporation would qualify for somewhere around $20,000 on a PPP loan. Now, I haven't heard anything about a PPP loan, but assuming that I was able to get $20,000, it would be forgiven. That seems pretty attractive as long as I do all of the accounting that's necessary and I have all of the documentation that's necessary. And I don't know that I comply. So, that's potentially an issue. Like, I'm going to have to do some other things to comply. Or plan B is, I'm getting offered $48,000 on a EIDL loan at 3.75% for 30 years. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that a $48,000 loan, that's actually something I can do something with for my business, not just pay me. So I don't know if and when that money's ever going to come through, but when it does, because I'm actually going forward with it because it's the option I have. I can invest in marketing. I can invest in tools. I can invest in product. I can make the investments I need to generate money and profit in my business. And I'm going to be smart about it. I mean, you've all heard me talk about Profit First as a method to manage how your profit and how your money is managed. And so it's really important to look at that. Hey, I have another bragger. Hey, Brett, Thanks for bragging. I really appreciate that. So Brett got his, what is it, his SBA loan funded 3 weeks ago? Damn, I was nowhere near the front of the line. You totally beat me, Brett. Good job. And by the way, I don't know that I'm getting 48,000, right? Like it's not approved yet. They're just saying, here's what you could get. But 21,000 3 weeks ago, 30 years at 103 a month. Hey, that sounds like a pretty awesome deal. Congratulations, Brett. It's great to see you back with us today. And if you ever want to share your experience, you're invited to join us live. Just reach out to me and let me know. I'd love to have you up here. And then gosh, we're getting some interesting comments. I think I'm going to stay away from the one we just got about goats contracting the disease. That's just not part of our topic today. Sorry, guys, we're talking about money, not about how people get or don't get the disease. So just want to say that's it. So in any case, with that, I want to turn to Todd. I want to invite Todd to share with us. First off, I'm really, really interested, Todd, in what's going on in the world of money this week. Also, I know that, I've been hearing people interested in like, well, gosh, if the stock market's, going up and down and being volatile, are there other ways I can hedge my bets? And I know that, people are looking at precious metals, they're looking at stones, they're looking at, are there specific stock segments or bond segments they can look at? So Todd, excuse me, why don't you share with us a little bit today about what you're seeing and hearing?
Sure. I first want to input here quickly that my cat will put her health against the goat's health if you want, because they've been declared at risk now. So she's very concerned.
I just want you to notice the comment, like, should I invest all my money in EFTs again?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Sure, I can address that. But first, very quickly, the overview. Obviously, it was kind of a choppy week, and all the indices ended up down for the week. The Dow was down, the Nasdaq was down, the S&P 500 and the New York Stock Exchange Composite were down. Gold was down even more. So if we're going to talk about precious metals, here's something to consider. Yes, the indices are very volatile, and I didn't catch the name because it flew by so quickly, but investing in ETFs is a very broad thing to say because there are exchange traded funds for everything: large cap, mid cap, small cap, domestic, international, natural resources, sectors, you name it. There's probably 40 or 50 exchange traded funds minimum on anything you could think of. The nice thing about exchange traded fund is kind of the same thing we used to say about mutual funds. It brings Wall Street to Main Street. You're able to diversify. You are able to invest in a broad spectrum of holdings. ETFs can be a really great way to get a broad exposure to segments of the market, or the whole market. And by market, we're talking stocks, bonds, everything. It's a matter of having a consistent strategy and, quite frankly, some professional guidance, at least to point you in the right direction. This is not about throwing a dart at the Wall Street Journal like we did in the late 90s, and you could pick anything and be happy. You do have to have some discipline. You've got to understand that volatility can actually be your friend. If you are dollar cost averaging in, if you're putting money in on a consistent basis, yeah, it's a great time to go into ETFs. Everything's on sale. When people ask me, Jeff, is the market going up or down? My answer is yes. It's going to do both. We're in a it's not gone. But here's what I know, that although gold, when people look at it, they'll tell me, well, what about gold? Gold is up over the last 6 months. Well, that's only because it was really up at that very first pitch of the market tanking down, February to March. And since March 18th, gold has done nothing but go straight down. Look at the gold VIX, and it's not a smooth line down, but it's a progressive line that keeps going down. It's down 2.15% today. It's down 5% for the week. It's just been trending straight down. What I tell people is you want to have, and Jeff, we were talking about this before the show, you want to have a diversified portfolio. You want to be thinking long-term. If this is the money you need in 6 weeks, it doesn't belong in the market. If this is the money you need in the next 2 or 3 months, it doesn't belong in the market. If this is your money for a few years out, maybe it belongs in the market. You should be talking to a professional advisor to talk about what's appropriate for you, because that's the thing, is being cautious. And always, as I say every week to you, reserves. You want to be having, as small business owners, and I know that's who predominantly is watching us, you want to have adequate reserves. Normally, I tell a client who owns a business, I want you to have at least 5 or 6 months of adequate reserves to keep yourself afloat, your family and your business. I even extend them. That doesn't mean it has to be sitting in cash in a checking account. It means it's money you can get out that is not in a highly volatile position. It's not going to cost you to get at it, and it's not going to take a sudden massive downturn. But there are things other than cash that will do that. For my opinion, gold is not one of them. Platinum is not one of them. Commodities is probably not your short-term money.
Gotcha. So where would be a good safe place to be, or what's the best strategy? I heard you talk about dollar cost averaging. I hear you talking about other ways that you can protect yourself. I mean, a lot of people get into this fight or flight mode, right? So, what do you see there?
Well, first, I tell people don't react. Unless you liquidate, these prices today are not your prices. So discipline, think long term. Like you said, fight or flight, don't fly. If this was something that you liked enough to put in your long-term portfolio, like Jebediah's question, this is something that you liked for your long-term planning, then you should stick with it. We're not going to see the economy go out of business. Jebediah, no. Money under the cash under the mattress is not your friend. Even, and those who know me know I'm not a huge advocate of just pour a ton of your money in the bank at 0%, but that's still safer than putting it under your mattress. If there's a fire at the home, you've lost everything. If it's in some sort of,
we're getting some.
I know he's probably joking.
Some tongue in cheek on some of these.
Oh, I know he is. I know he is.
But I just want to thank you guys for that, because it's a really great way to lighten up the mood.
Yeah. I knew he was, and I couldn't resist the opening. But here's the reality. You have to stay focused on, you own a business. You have to stay focused on, for most of you, I have a family, whether they're younger or you're older and worrying about the next generation. You want to keep, I know Jeff has talked about this with other guests, you want to keep managing your business like you're staying in business. It's the same thing with your assets as a small business owner or an individual. You have to manage for, I'm going to continue to be here. I'm in business, and I'm going to be in business. That's really what you want to be looking at.
Absolutely. And, I think it's not just, like, there's a couple of things. First off, for the business owner, I'm in business and I'm going to be remaining in business. For the individual, I've got, my nest egg, I want to protect it. Now what? How do we go there?
Right.
And I know, Todd, you and I were talking on the pre-show a little bit about what some of the resources are. And I'll just share my screen really quick and show people. We've actually got a great couple of resources today. I want to share the Small Business Finance Center for the state of California's resource. Now, listen, you may not be in California. If you're not, look for what your state has. But in California, we have iBank. And what the iBank site does is it makes you aware of additional loans and additional resources available. California's got the Small Business Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee. Todd, you were sharing a little bit about that with me before. Why don't you go ahead and
here's a real key thing. And people talk about the SBA loans and the fact that they're even available to smaller nonprofits. California has a disaster relief loan guarantee program. And they define a small business instead of 500 as an employee with 750 or fewer employees, from 1 to 750, who have been negatively impacted. And that includes eligible nonprofits. Those loan terms, they're guaranteed up to 7 years. It'll guarantee up to 95% of the loan.
Here you go.
The trick with it is that the loan interest rates are negotiated between you and your lender. So when you qualify, it's going to be dependent on that lender's criteria, but it's a wonderful additional resources, particularly for some of the businesses who might be from 500 to 750 and aren't eligible for an SBA loan.
That's a great point. And the other thing here to notice is if you're a nonprofit, you may be eligible here as well. That's
correct. That is absolutely correct. There's $50 million in state funding for potential capital for individuals who don't get the federal funds. That's who this is for. The people, the small business owners who fail to get the federal loan can go to the loan guarantee programs sponsored by the state.
Well, that's really great.
Those are loans of up to $50,000.
Right. So thanks for that, Todd. That's really helpful. As usual, we go through these conversations. They're really quick. Hope you guys enjoy them as much as we do. Feel free to leave us comments if there are topics you want to continue having us share. Jebediah, thanks so much for the
levity.
And also the levity, and really appreciate you, sharing that you like what we're doing. We like doing it. We want to make sure people are informed. It's a huge commitment we have to doing that. And Todd, as always, we'll see you next Friday.
You bet.
Okay, and everyone else, thanks very much for joining us today. We'll see you next